Hi there, welcome to Lecture 1 where I'm going to teach you how to set up a mission in Google Earth. There are many advantages to using Google Earth and the bridge to set up your missions. You can get proper pre-visualization of what you're going to be doing. You can frame your shots exactly how you would like them, no more guesswork. And you can add a safety check, which I'll show you later. So, first thing, get yourself a copy of Google Earth, open it up. On the top left, you have your search tool. This will help you get to your location. Underneath that, Places. I'm going to show you how to set up a folder and save your missions. And then beneath that, you have Layers. You need 3D buildings and terrain. Those are very important. Those should be selected. Navigation in Google Earth is really easy. Just click and drag with your mouse to move around. You can use your mouse scroll wheel to zoom in or zoom out. If you zoom in a little bit too low, just be careful because it'll put you into ground level view. And you can exit ground level view by clicking the button on the top right and then just scrolling out. Another thing to bear in mind is that movements in Google Earth are very big in reality. So a small little scrolling out could actually make you jump a few hundred meters. Takes a little bit of practice to get precise. Top right navigation. This gets your camera to look up, down, left or right. Beneath that, this causes your camera to move and change its position. And then you have your zoom wheel. Alternatively, if you hold down your control key, left click and drag your mouse around, you can move your camera. And if you left click, let's just say we want to move around this building and frame our shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the shift key, left click on the building. You'll see it creates a little circle. And now I drag my mouse and I can set up a precise framing for the very first shot that I'd like to take. So before we jump into that, a very important step is we have to now address the issue of the different DJI drones have different fields of view. And let me explain that. So the first thing you're going to have to do is go to the Bridge website. This is a once-off step and you need to download the FOVs pack. I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, so you're going to head over to the phantomfilmschool.com website. You're going to go to the page, the Bridge. And you're going to scroll down here and it says FOV version 2. Just keep an eye. This could be updated from time to time. And you're going to download this KML file. And I suggest saving it into a folder in Dropbox or Google Drive. And once you download it, just open it up and it'll bring you into Google Earth. So remember, this is a once-off step. Inside Google Earth, it will create a folder called Temporary Places where it has FOVs. Right-click and save to My Places. Okay, so you can see the FOVs are now in My Places, and if I open them up, you will see that we have the different drones listed, including Google Earth Standard. Now, before I click on any of them to show you the difference, I just want you to be able to set up your navigation speed, because these FOVs were created in Paris, but we're in Miami. So I don't want it to take long for you to go from one area to the next. So just click on Tools, Options, and look at the navigation tab and set your fly to speed to as fast as possible. Now, when you double click on any one of these, for example, the Mavic Pro, it's going to bring you through to Paris. And this is going to be where we set these up and you're going to see the difference between the different fields of view. So the Phantom 3 is a nice wide angle lens. Phantom 4 is a little bit closer. Mavic closer. Google Earth a little bit closer. Right up until the 45mm, which you can put onto an Inspire 2 X5S. So you can see, depending on which camera and lens you're going to use, it's going to frame your shot very differently in Google Earth. So the very first thing you need to do every time you create a mission in Google Earth is open the FOV folder, double click on the drone that you're going to be using, so for example the Mavic, and once that's double clicked and set up, you can then shoot off to your location, for example Miami, where we can set up a demo mission. Okay, so here we are in Miami. Let's minimize the FOV folder. Let's go to the My Places folder and set up a subfolder called Missions. Great, now that we've got the Missions folder, let's set up a subfolder inside that and give it a name. Okay, so now we have the Miami mission, and later on if you want to create a different mission, just go back to Missions, right click and add a folder. Brilliant, so we're in the Miami mission, and the first thing we have to do, and if you understand Lychee, it needs to know where you're going to be taking off from, so it's got a reference ground altitude. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly into position over our imaginary takeoff point and that will be somewhere down here. Okay, so let's just say for argument's sake we're going to be taking off somewhere over here. So I'm going to bring this into the middle of the screen, and I'm going to go up here to the yellow place mark icon, left click on it, and give it a title. We will call it takeoff/1 because that will be waypoint 1, and we'll click OK. And this is really going to be a reference for the altitude, and it'll be waypoint 1. Next is move your camera and frame it. And this is the beauty of Google Earth. You can now choose the perfect shot each time. So I'm going to move my camera into position. I'm going to say, okay, well, we will go to waypoint 2 over here. So I'm going to click the place mark icon and change that to 2 for waypoint 2. Okay, I just want to give you a tip when framing your shot. Now, Litchi relies on your GPS coordinates. And as we know, GPS is not 100% accurate unless you use RTK GPS, and that's only available on the Matrice at the moment, and it's very expensive. So the current GPS that we have might cause your drone to be out by 1 or 2 meters when it's up in the air. And this can affect your framing very slightly. So let's just say, for example, that this building over here is what you definitely wanted in your frame. Then I would strongly advise not having the building up against the edge of the frame, either to the left or to the right, or even on the bottom section there. Avoid framing your subject in the corner of Google Earth. Give it a little bit of breathing room, and this should sort out any framing issues you have if the GPS coordinates are out slightly due to the kind of GPS accuracy issues we might experience. I'm now going to set up the next shot, so I'm going to fly through these buildings, and I understand that this is probably not legal, but I'm just doing this as a demonstration. In some cases you would get permission to do this, in which case it would be legal. So I'm going to fly through these buildings, and this is also to demonstrate the safety feature. And I'm going to fly through these buildings and just look up at that building for the next shot, and that will be waypoint number 3. And then for the final shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over there and zoom out a little bit using the scroll wheel and just position myself to give me a nice view of this area of Miami over there, and we will call that waypoint 4. So you can set up as many as you want, and there you have it. Now, a useful way to change altitude, let's just say, for example, we were going to do something really simple, like we wanted to go in front of this building here and do a simple rise shot. We would drop a waypoint. I would then hold the shift key, and I would push my mouse upwards to climb in altitude, and then I would hold the control key and look up. And that way you can go up or down in altitude. But you'll figure all of this out when you play around with the various Google Earth navigation features. Okay, excellent. Let's have a look at our mission. So if I double click here, it'll show me takeoff position. Then waypoint 2, which is really the start of the mission. Waypoint 3, where I fly through those buildings to this building here. And finally waypoint 4, where I zoom out and have a nice view. Okay, we're now ready to save our mission. We go to the Miami folder, right click, say Save Places As. We then drop it into a folder on our computer, and we make sure that we choose the KML option. Don't choose KMZ, only KML, and click Save. We then come back to the bridge page, and you have 2 options. So before you jump in and click Select File, just note that you can upload your KML file and you can output 2 kinds of missions. The first one is where you're just going to take video, and that's where you're going to be running curves. Or the second one is where you want to run actions and take a photo at each waypoint. So we will do both. To begin with, we'll just do the video mission. So we're going to select the file, choose Miami KML, and it automatically goes into the conversion process and takes you to the results page. So at the bottom here, you can actually see the flight path for this mission. That's just an example. You can click here to go back and convert more. We'll do that shortly. But first I want to download the CSV file for Litchi. So we're going to download the CSV file into Litchi, and I'm going to call it Miami Videos, just so we know that this is the one with curves. And then I'm going to download the safety checker file. This is called an elevation safety check. This is a KML file. And then I'm going to go back and convert and create the one for photos. So what we do is we take a photo, we select the original Miami KML, and that is now going to convert a different mission with actions. And when I download this one, I will call it Miami Photos and save that. Okay, excellent. So before we go to the next lecture where we're going to be looking at bringing these into Lychee, I just want to show you the safety check. If I double click on that, it will bring up in my temporary folder the Miami safety check file. If you look over here, there it is. And what it does is it draws the actual flight path of the drone, and it shows me exactly where I'm going to be flying. So this top of the line on the green is the flight path. And you can see over here, if I move around, whether we have a safe mission or not in terms of collision. So we're going to be taking off over there, coming down here. Let me just whip around. And then we're going to be flying through these buildings. And as you can see, we are flying through them and we are not crashing into anything. And then I'm going to look around here. We get to that point and we zoom out. So this is a perfectly safe flight in terms of we are not crashing into any building. And the safety check file is an absolutely brilliant feature. From now on, you can plan your missions and you can safety check them before you go and run them. Okay, I will see you in lecture 2 where I'll show you how to bring these missions into Lychee.